Welcome back, everybody. We have got a Spyderco PM3 today, and this was loaned in from a very good friend. Started out as just somebody I watched on YouTube, and then I ended up buying a watch through him and sold watches through him, had him custom make me watches, and yeah, Random Rob has become just a truly good friend. We talk all the time. He's really been instrumental in helping me get my YouTube started and continued and all that. So he was shipping me a watch that I had bought and had shipped to him first so he could check out. And since he was shipping me that watch, he threw in some knives. Very thoughtful and awesome of him. So let's just jump right into this PM3. Quick note, this was actually given to him by another friend of ours who runs a watch channel, Bobby Legs. So kind of a small, tight-knit community we have with a group of friends. So it's really awesome. So thanks, Rob, for sending this in. I greatly appreciate it. Let's dive into the specs here. It's 4¼ inches closed. 7 1/8 inch overall. This one is still fairly new. Rob's used it a little bit. I've been trying to break it in, but it doesn't drop shut. It takes time for these compression locks to really kind of break in. That's why I didn't get it all the way open that time. Blade length is 2.93 with an edge of just 2.56. Pretty small in the blade department. But a good size handle. So the blade steel is crew wear, which we'll talk about in a minute. The blade thickness is 0.143, overall thickness of 0.446, minus the clip. Runs on just phosphor bronze washers, and it weighs in at 3.4 ounces. So super light. Really a cool knife. It has a compression lock. And for those of you that are not familiar with a compression lock, it's basically like a liner lock, but on the back side. Let me zoom in on that. So it is on the back side, but it works very similarly to a liner lock. It just kind of springs out there and locks the blade open. It is actually, depending on who you talk to and whatnot, it is stronger than a liner lock based on the geometry of where the pressure is being applied from the lock face to the locking mechanism. And I think I actually did, I'll try to link below, I did a takedown disassembly of a PM2, I think it was, where I actually showed the compression lock, because the compression lock actually is keyed. So in the blade there's a notch, and the compression lock actually, it goes, not only does it go up against the face of the lock, but it also goes into that keyway. I'll link to that video down below. So very good. You can see that Rob uses it already. It's kind of marked up there because I have not used it yet. It is crew wear. It is a awesome looking purple with black hardware. I think it looks fantastic. The PM3 you can do tip up or tip down, left or right-handed. One thing that I wished Spyderco would do is make the liners black. They don't do that on any model. They've made black liners for like one special limited run. That was it. So for me, I wish the compression lock stuff was black just to kind of fit in with everything else. But that's just me. So, crew wear is the steel, and it is not, I don't think we would consider it a super steel, like, it's below S35, S30, and all of that. It's basically an upgraded D2 steel. So it is a tool steel, but it has a lot of similar properties to D2, although it can attain a much greater toughness, much higher wear resistance, and a higher attainable hardness. So they can harden this between 60 and 65 Rockwell, whereas D2 is really only from 52 to 62. And typically it's in that 58 to 59 on the Rockwell hardness scale. So if you can get something up into that 60, 65 range, it's just going to be a much tougher blade and resist nicks or chips and rolls. I mean, you still don't want to abuse your knives, but under normal use, you can get some nicks and chips as you're processing cardboard and hitting those big industrial staples. Sometimes that can be a problem. So this steel is going to work much better than a D2. Okay? And I am no metallurgist. If my information does not seem correct and some metallurgist wants to debate, let me know. I just, looked it up a little bit online, and there you go, right? So you can see it in my hand. It fits very nicely in the hand. You can feel the clip, which if you were going to be using this as kind of a hard and really grabbing this tightly for hours at a time, the clip would become uncomfortable. But other than that, it really does fit really nicely in the hand. It's a smaller blade than I typically carry, but I do like this knife. I don't love compression locks, though. For me, when I am holding the knife and I go to flick it open, I feel the compression lock tab go over and lock on my finger. I feel that dunk into my finger when I'm opening the knife every single time. And it's a little uncomfortable. It kind of pinches my finger just a little bit. But most of the other people I talk to don't have that problem and think I'm weird. Well, they might not be wrong. I have been told I'm weird a time or two. So let's do some size comparisons here with the Sharpie and the Spyderco Delica that I always pull out, which we already know is too small for me, and partially because it's so thin, whereas your PM3 is thicker because it has the compression lock mechanism, and this one has the back lock. So it needs to be a little bit thicker in your hand. So basically the same size. In fact, the PM3 is slightly smaller overall. But because the handle is thicker, it feels better in your hand, and the slight shortness of the blade is not really that bad. Since we're talking Spyderco, I pulled out my police model just to kind of show a size comparison there. Yeah, it definitely is a much bigger knife overall. And I've done several videos on the Spyderco Police model. You can go check those out if you so desire. I will link down below to my Spyderco playlist, because I did put one of those together a while back, because I've done a bunch of Spydercos, because I really love Spyderco. Here it is next to the Holt Spectre. A little bit shorter. And just for giggles, how about the Hinderer XM24 to give you a full-size, larger overbuilt knife comparison. So there you go, guys. Thank you, Rob, for sending this in, and thank you, Bobby Legs, for giving it to Rob so that he could send it in. Love how that all works, right? So check out the playlist down below. I will put a bunch of links in there. I think I'll try to put a link to an Amazon link for this if you're interested in picking one up as well. And we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks a lot.